I'm Wendy Howard from the University of Central Florida. So next I'd like to welcome Jim Smart, who is an associate professor and program chair for the mathematics department at Tallahassee Community College, where he's worked since 2004. He spearheaded the transition to OER for the math department at TCC for over the last 5 years.
So I found out this was a 5-minute talk 5 minutes ago. The emails I got said 15. The agenda seemed to be 50 minutes, but it looked like they inserted something between the start and the end of ours. So I'm going to move really quickly. OER, before I got into it, it was sort of like the mystical land of Oz. It was this ideal thing that seemed like it was out there somewhere, but I just couldn't find it. So I'm going to sort of walk you through our journey from publisher materials to OER. Where's the button? So there it is. All right. So what was it like in Kansas? What was good about the publisher materials? They looked good. They were pretty. They were edited. You know, you'd find the occasional mistake, but pretty well. They had all the nice online and supplemental materials, and they came to our campus every year to tell us new teachers and gave us lunch. Right? We were there. We all came, we ate lunch, and we left, and so that was nice. But there were also limitations. Took what you got for a long time. They started later allowing you to sort of remix, but it was hard to, you couldn't be like, well, I like this stuff from this author and this stuff from this author. Can you put it in the same book? You might be able to rearrange stuff in the same book, but you couldn't really do much else. Of course, there was the new editions every few years. There were copyright issues. So again, if I like this thing from this other book, same publisher, but I'm not using it, I can't really use it in my class. And of course, it was expensive. We were really excited when my math lab first started and our students could get access to an ebook and online homework for $40, and then it went up $5 every single semester until it was $125. So then how do we get to OER? So I knew they were expensive and was doing what I could. I would work with students who wanted to use an older edition of the textbook. If a student wanted to use a textbook without the online materials, I would work with them to do that sort of thing. I would try to be as flexible as I could. At a community college, our students are, as we saw in the previous statistics, our students struggle with finances. And so I would do my best to work with them. And I knew they were out there. I couldn't find the magic bullet. There was a few different resources I looked at. I found a couple of online textbooks for some of our algebra courses, but there wasn't online learning materials. They were just static PDFs, and our students really liked the online homework when they could afford it. And then Lumen reached out to TCC, and we worked through the Kaleidoscope grant to start implementing OER. So our AVP for Academic Affairs asked our Associate Dean for Math to recruit volunteers. They came to us, and myself and one other professor who has since moved on to a college in California agreed to pilot. This was about a week before the semester started. And that's how far ahead of the students we said, as our former colleague said. So we looked at, so this was the first time I found a program called Powerful Math, which is an online learning program that rivals what the publishers do. I'll tell you more about it this afternoon, but it's literally one guy in Washington State programmed this entire math program for the state of Washington. And then they released it nationwide. It's what it can do is amazing. Started with 1033. Why? Lots of students, low success rate, textbook cost barrier, my math lab, $110. So many students don't buy the materials, and what ends up happening, they don't have them. So, and B, most professors count homework as part of the grade, so they don't get that either. So here we go. We go through our pilot, sink or swim. We agreed to do it, and so we had to do it. We started the semester, we're in it, let's go. So we started with a template course on My Open Math. There are template courses. And at that point, My Open Math was, everybody who worked with Lumen or not used My Open Math. Now Lumen has separated their own version of it. So there's still My Open Math, which is free for everyone to use, and Lumen has their own version called OER, which we pay a small cost for. We adjusted as we went along. Someday, the same day as class, that's the morning I'm having homework problems. Get to class, okay, your homework's due in a week. It's ready now. Learn to code questions. We wrote a bunch of questions for it. Students loved the cost, of course. Hey, you don't have to buy a book for this class. And they were happy with the quality. So it wasn't like they were like, wow, this is the greatest textbook and the greatest learning stuff we've ever seen. But they didn't say, God, this is terrible. Either. So, and so then we started to push for it, myself and my colleague Dave Matthews. We started talking to our colleagues, showing them what we were doing, and these are our two largest enrollment courses. And so then we started moving on up. Spring 2014, we finished intermediate algebra. In the fall of 2014, all of our intermediate algebra courses were using it. And then we built college algebra a year later. We went larger and larger, and by the fall of 2015, all college algebra and all intermediate algebra at TCC were using OER. So there we are. Did we make it to the Emerald City? So we have adoption in basically everything below calculus except for liberal arts 2 we're still working on, and statistics. Science we have full implement. In fact, I think now we're at full implementation in Chem 1045 as well as the lab. And then we're in some large-scale pilots and other courses. And our students, this is probably a pretty conservative estimate. We've saved our students at least $2 million in textbook costs. And then, but it wasn't easy. I mean, I already talked about just the piloting process, but it is a lot of work a lot of times. Lumen did help us, but we also put in a lot of our own work. That's the hardest thing about it is you have to find people who are willing to put in the labor to make it work. We keep talking about like zero textbook costs and materials are free. OER isn't free. I'm standing up here to tell you that. I'm sorry if I'm bursting anybody's bubble. The materials have to be hosted on a website somewhere. Website hosting isn't free, right? Faculty needs support. Faculty support isn't free, right? Those things cost money, but they're a lot less than what the publisher textbooks cost, right? With My Open Math, the college can host it itself. But even that costs money. We paid the money for our internet services. So it's not free, but the costs are so much lower than it's so much dramatically lower that it makes a huge difference for our students. OER is supposed to be open. There's a lot of stuff that has CC copyrights, including like the least restrictive, which is CC BY. You'll learn about that a little bit later. But the only thing you can find is a PDF. So you can't do anything with it except say, here you go. So it's theoretically supposed to be open, but I've emailed people who have CC BY copyright and say, can I get the source materials? And they're like, nope, sorry. So it's not a panacea. It's still a work in progress in a lot of areas. But faculty, this is a big one. We get comfortable with things. One of our issues at our college with people adopting new stuff is like, but my notes have images from the publishers, and so I'll have to rewrite all my notes. Well, yes, that's true. But it works for students, but only with faculty advocates who are willing to put forward the effort. It's not the same as as the publisher material where they're like, here you go. So, and then these are the people who helped us out along the way. My dean and associate dean. I had a faculty fellowship one semester to help develop the course materials. And then, of course, my colleagues have really been helpful and really been on board. We have got a great department of the vast majority of whom are 100% on board with this. And it has been an awesome journey. And hopefully we are not very far from having OER in all of our courses in mathematics. If you come this afternoon to the math program, I'm hoping that you will leave with a course that you can use as a seed at your own college. Thanks.